Swing low, sweet chariot, come in to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, come in to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, come in to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, come in to carry me home. If you get there before I do, come in to carry me home. Tell all of my friends I'm coming too. Come in to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, come in to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, come in for to carry me home.
Hello everybody, I'm Roma. One of my first duties is to ask you to please turn off your mobile phones. I'm John's wife and I'm Bernie's daughter-in-law. Bernie wasn't a formal person and he didn't want a formal ceremony, but John felt that we should celebrate his life, and so he's asked me to conduct a little service, and we'll make it as informal as possible and encourage you to participate a little bit along the way. Terry is Bernie's eldest son. He couldn't be here today, so he sends his apologies. He's been living in the Philippines for the last 20 years, and he's currently supporting his partner whose mother is dying. Bernie's niece from London, Belinda, also sends her apologies, as does his niece from Adelaide, Tamara. But there are family members here and obviously some close friends of the families and also some friends and neighbours of Bernie, so we thank you very much for coming along. I also just want to mention a particular thanks to Robin, our friend, the Whittlesea florist, who did the beautiful flowers with flowers from my garden, because Bernie's not exactly a roses kind of man. So, first of all, John's going to do the eulogy.
Thank you, Roma. Thank you all for coming. Bernie was born in Melbourne to an Irish Catholic family with two sisters, Veronica and Eileen. He was a handful for the nuns at the school, but the local librarian had a soft spot for him and would let him read advanced technology books. Bernie joined the army and was trained in signals on the outbreak of the World War II, where he served in New Guinea. He was renowned for his resourcefulness. For instance, when he received a decomposing Christmas cake from home, he promptly fermented it into a powerful brew. He was also a gun radio technician. Bernie met Isabel, a good Seventh-day Adventist, who'd been raised by her grandparents and was a milliner and a hard worker at the family guest house in Warburton. They had Terry and me within 3 years and built a home on the outskirts of Croydon. Dad had visions of his own market garden with us boys being able to pick our own meals from the paddock. I still remember the taste of that sweet corn. We had a pet lamb that Dad nursed back from a near-fatal dog attack with the balm of the 50s, young Vita. But the challenge of being an owner-builder were great, and the relationship didn't last and broke up 50 years ago now. The sheep had a name, so we didn't eat it. It was Bambi. Bernie was awarded custody of us boys and built a new home in Lawler. Some of his neighbours are here today. And the family thanks you for the friendship and support for Bernie over the years, particularly over the past few years when he was less physically able. Mind you, that didn't stop him getting about. After an unsuccessful attempt to obtain a glider's licence, he returned home from Essendon Airport via the freeway on his scooter, as you do, the shortcut way. He was held in custody by both the federal and state police while protocol debated his release. There were various things he got up to on that scooter. When I built the concrete ramp into his house, he was impatient on waiting for the concrete to cure. And of course, his first ascent of that ramp, he didn't have the slow setting. He had the rabbit setting on the scooter, and of course he dropped the back wheel off the ramp on the way up. But he didn't lose it. He kept going, and he was quite pleased with himself. And of course, the other scooter story was when he went against the red man in the shopping centre at Lawler, and a car drove into him, broke his leg, and wrote itself off. So he got up to a bit with that little scooter. Dad had an inquisitive mind, which meant he spent more time analysing the situation than actually doing anything about it. He enjoyed the journey more than the destination. Dad always was an independent thinker. He questioned authority, and as the song goes, he was afraid of no man and very few women. 1993 saw him make the front page of the local newspaper when he was jailed for refusing to pay the Jeff Kennett poll tax. In 1988, Dad jumped at the opportunity to join Roma and the kids and myself for a couple of months during a 2-year trip around Australia. Having taken Terry and me scuba diving in our teens, Bernie was particularly enjoyed the week snorkelling and sailing on a charter boat around the Whitsundays Islands as my first mate. Life was not always easy for a single dad in the 60s, 70s and 80s. I've learned to appreciate Dad's healthy scepticism of authority, and I often see his larrikinism reflected in my son. Intent on giving me and Terry a safe environment, Dad practiced benign neglect, so that we learnt independence and to make the most of what we had, particularly as there was no women in the house. Thank you for helping us celebrate Bernie's life. I'm now a brewer, and I brought some of my Buckley's beer to share with you over afternoon tea in the tea rooms. I really would like you to join us when the service is over to continue reminiscing about Dad's life and exploits. Thank you.